Hello, everyone. I am so excited to have you all on here to learn about health and wealth and this medical breakthrough that we have our hands on. My name is Maria Williams, and I'm super excited today to have a special guest that's going to talk to us about and teach us all about NRF2 activation, NRF1 activation, what this is, how it works in the body, why it's so important, and also why this creates a business opportunity. So we have this powerful two categories merging together, health and wealth, merging together, and something really special on our hands. So I'm going to turn it over right away to Dr. Melody Rodarte. Dr. Melody Rodarte was voted one of Arizona's top doctors, so I'm super excited to have her on board. Her dream since she's been a little girl is to be a doctor. She's a DO. She has studied aesthetics. She studied bariatric also, and I mean, she's just phenomenal and just a world of knowledge. So we're super excited to have her on board. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Melody Rodarte.
Thank you so much, Maria. I'm excited to do this. And, it's so true. I wanted to be a physician since I was 5 years old. And my goal and my passion has always been to help people live their best life and to stay healthy and out of the doctor's office, which is such a different concept, except for it's becoming a more popular concept now. But it is definitely something that I started off, and if you became my patient, my goal was to keep you healthy and out of my office. And I love that there are things that we can use now, and that's what we're going to talk about today, where we can grow old kicking and screaming. My introduction to this company and these products was about 3 years ago, and I was looking specifically for something to help my son, who has an autoimmune disorder called alopecia totalis, and I wanted to help reduce the stress on the inside of his body, because we know autoimmune processes can trigger these to become more severe, as well as trigger other autoimmune processes. He's more at risk. And I am very blessed to have been introduced to this, and that's why I have this big passion of sharing it as well. So it may or may not be for you, but I love that you're going to learn about how to activate your body today, and to learn how you can grow old kicking and screaming as well. So let me share my slide, and we'll get started here. And so this is my beautiful family. I'm a Pro 5 here in Arizona. And what we're talking about specifically is biohacking the aging process. We're trying to take control of our gene expression through nutrigenomics. And nutrigenomics is the study of how nutrition can help our gene expression. So, and it's incredible. Maria will talk a little bit about this, with it being a $600 billion market right now. People want to fight the aging process. They want better health, and they're looking outside of Western medicine because unfortunately Western medicine doesn't have all of the answers. And I love that we can integrate both Eastern and Western medicine. That has been my passion as well, is you don't always need a drug. We need to figure out other ways of helping our bodies fight the aging process as well as heal. If we do have a chronic disease or a disease, what are things that we can do to decrease the progression or the severity? And so let's talk about a few definitions. I'm all about education. And so what we're mainly talking about here is oxidative stress. It is the root cause of over 200 diseases. And on the left-hand side, you can see what oxidative stress, what free radical damage can do to an apple. It's a great visual. When you cut that apple in half, the oxygen hits the pulp, it starts to oxidize and it starts to brown, and that's happening to all of our cells. And it doesn't matter if we eat healthy, we exercise, we don't use pesticides or herbicides, all of us start to age, and depending on our genetic makeup, we can age faster, or we can be prone to disease states. And so as that oxidative stress hurts a cell, that cell makes up a tissue, makes up an organ, makes up our bodies. So it may look like a heart attack or high blood pressure or psoriasis, eczema, diabetes, kidney disease, inflammatory disorders like my son's autoimmune autoimmune disorder of alopecia or rheumatoid arthritis or lupus. It can look, my heart breaks for people with, family histories of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, MS, OCD, autism, ADHD, anxiety. I mean, the list goes on and on if you're looking at this. And so at first you might be thinking, oh, I'm going to learn something new today. There's nothing wrong with me. And then you start looking at that wheel going, oh my gosh, maybe it's a migraine or high blood pressure. All of those, the root cause is oxidative stress. And so why should we care? And it's because we want to slow down that process and hopefully, one, not turn on these disease states, and two, not let them progress. So back in 2005, John Quinones was asked to go and interview Dr. Joe McCord, who's a world-renowned biochemist. And so they visited him at the University of Colorado to look at a supplement that was creating a little bit of a buzz, and it's called Protandim. So if the person who has invited you to this Zoom webinar, if you have not seen this ABC Primetime Investigative Report, please take a moment to stop this recording if you're watching it recorded and watch this ABC Primetime Investigative Report. But if you haven't seen it yet, after this live Zoom, go ahead, we'll share this ABC Primetime Investigative Report with you. But the interesting part is, because of that airing, over just so many orders came in, and people, it created a buzz where they wanted to know more about Protandim. They wanted to order it, but it was a small little biotech company. So we'll talk a little bit about more of that in a little bit. But multiple networks started to run and aired it, as well as the company started to figure out, okay, we need to figure out how to get this out to the masses. But what was interesting to me, and when I first watched it, and multiple universities that you're seeing here on the screen, is they thought, what if we could reduce oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days and 70% with continued use? Because that is what John Quinones heard, and that is what Dr. McCord had shown through the study. And so these universities called Dr. McCord and said, can we use Protandim in our studies? Because they were already looking at disease X, Y, and Z. What if they could reduce oxidative stress? Right there in the center is the American Heart Association. They publish a journal called Circulation, and it is incredibly difficult to get something publicized or published in that. And what is so neat is the first day that I heard about this, I went to a site called pubmed.gov, and it's put on by the National Institute on Health, and that is where all peer-reviewed and published data is. And when I typed in Protandim 3.5 years ago, there were 16 peer-reviewed studies. Today, if you do it, there are 23 peer-reviewed studies. And that Circulation article is the first one that I had to look at because I couldn't believe it popped up on my screen. And so with time, it takes a lot of time to get these published. And that's why, 3 years ago there were 16 and now there are 23. And so multiple studies are still being finished and they will end up on PubMed. And it just speaks to our product. So let's talk about it in more detail. The difference here is supplementation versus activation. We all know about supplementation. We've been told to eat our green leafy vegetables, our beautiful colored, fruits, because they have antioxidants. Well, when you take an antioxidant, whether it's from fresh foods or from supplements, you're only neutralizing one free radical at a time. It's a 1-to-1 ratio and it's one and done. When you turn on this NRF2 activation, and that's what Protandim is, it's an NRF2 activator, you are releasing your own body's antioxidants at a rate of 1,000,000 to 1. It is neutralizing 1 million free radicals every second, and it's not one and done, and it's in a pulsatile fashion. And so that cell is in control and can reduce that oxidative stress better than any other mechanism that we know today. And so on the bottom, if those of you who really love science, these are some of the antioxidants our body makes: catalase, glutathione, SOD, which stands for superoxide dismutase, hemoxygenase 1. All of these reduce the stress and inflammation, as well as decrease scarring and other activities that our cells need to stay healthy. So Protandim is a combination of herbal ingredients. It is an NRF2 activator, an NRF2 synergizer. Those are the words that, and the buzzwords that you're going to start hearing, because it is creating momentum in the health world and in the medical world. And Protandim is the only supplement or activator proven in a clinical study to reduce oxidative stress in humans by an average of 40% in 30 days and 70% with continued use. The NIA is a subset of the National Institute on Health, and they looked at multiple natural ingredients as well as medications. And in their 10-year arm, that's in the sciences, they call it arms, like parts of studies, they note that Protandim was the only natural supplement to extend the lifespan of a mouse by 7%, which is about 5 human years. So to extended lifespan, having better life. There were multiple things in the medication arm, but if you're like me, I don't want to take metformin combined with a chemo agent, and I don't want to take extra estrogen. Those have a lot of side effects. I would rather take something natural, activate my body's own mechanisms to extend life. And what's happening here is NRF2 is helping our body release and activate our survival genes. That's incredible. We have 2 seals of approval. The NSF is just a third party coming in and saying what is on the label is actually what's in the tablet. That's so, so important. And then the BSCG is Banned Substance Control Group. And so elite athletes can take this and not worry about doping. Only about 40 items are on this list. So the fact that we are on that list is just incredible. So on that bottom slide, it says Protandim NRF2 is a solution to help you slow down the cellular aging. Who doesn't want to slow down that cellular aging process? And so this is what Washington State University says about the NRF2 pathway. They're not talking about Protandim, just the NRF2 pathway. We may be on the verge of the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. That's incredible because all we've had is either therapies or prevention. Nothing to this extent where we can activate a protein pathway that does both repair and therapy. So this slide kind of shows, because I get a lot of people who say, you know, I already take ashwagandha, I already take bacopa, because they've heard that it's important to take these for reducing inflammation or slowing down the aging process. Well, because of the synergy of Protandim, we are 18-fold more effective than taking it alone. And that is why in the NIA study, they had green tea in there, they had resveratrol in there, they had some of these products alone, and it did not increase lifespan. It is the synergistic blend, and that is why we have so many domestic and international patents on our product. And then you might be thinking, are there any drugs out there that activate the NRF2 pathway? And the answer is yes. Tecfidera is a drug for multiple sclerosis, and Biogenetics is the pharmaceutical company that actually put this drug on the market. And they asked if they could go head-to-head with Protandim, and in their conclusion, this is what they wrote. Interestingly, Protandim, a dietary supplement consisting of herbal ingredients, was the most potent inducer and therefore may be the most suited as a therapeutic strategy. That's incredible. So when you activate it synthetically, unfortunately the cell is not in control, and that's where side effects can happen. And that's why multiple drugs have not been released yet, is because they can't get out of phase 1 and phase 2, phase 3 trials because of the side effects. Only 2 drugs have come to market, Tecfidera, and then there's another drug for ALS. And you must have those in order to get prescribed. So the beautiful part about Protandim is it's all natural. You're allowing your cell to be in control, and so it's releasing antioxidants in a pulsatile fashion, and we're not getting side effects, and the cell is in control. And we are the most potent NRF2 activator at this time, which is incredible. So I just taught you about NRF2 activation. I'm going to teach you another thing. It's called NRF1 activation. So if you think of mitochondria, most of us that are not in science, all we do is we think back to junior high. All we remember is ATP, energy, mitochondria. But it's so much more. Our mitochondria are super important for our cell's integrity, protecting the gene and helping cells repair and multiply correctly. And so on the right-hand side, you can see it's more than just fatigue that you can have with mitochondrial dysfunction. It's linked to so many neurologic disorders, and so Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, Huntington's, ALS, autism, and then even more worrisome for a lot of us is if we have that history of cancer in our family. And 2 years ago, I had to recertify my internal medicine boards, and the oncologist got up and his first sentence was that cancer is not a genetic mutation first, it's a mitochondrial problem. It's a mitochondrial dysfunction. And so I couldn't believe that we as a company were starting to help our mitochondria through NRF1 activation. So this is called Protandem NRF1 Synergizer. It helps increase cellular energy. It helps the performance of the cell, which is so important. If that mitochondria cannot perform correctly, we want it to die so it doesn't multiply and cause disease. It can actually improve sleep quality. We actually did a sleep study in-house, and it helps mitochondria talk. Our mitochondria throughout our body, there's a network, and we want that chromosomal integrity there so that mitochondria can talk to themselves and throughout our body. So it helps restore cellular youth. And if I haven't, encouraged you to think, oh, now there are things to use to help slow down that aging process, we have to heal our gut. And so we have an awesome, awesome probiotic. I've been talking about probiotics for years. And it's incredible that I have one that I can now say I can stand behind 110%. And there are two reasons why. We have BioTrek technology. So it's a patented technology to show that up to 70% of the probiotic can make it through the stomach and into the small and large intestine where we need our probiotics to work. Probiotics not only digest our food, they activate nutrients and synthesize vitamins. Our immune system, up to 70% of our immune system starts in our gut, and we release neurotransmitters, so happy gut, happy brain. So we need probiotics for more than just helping us create a good stool. And then we also have Wellmune. Wellmune has been patented, and there are 13 studies on PubMed that you can read about to help create tight junctions in our colon. We don't want a leaky gut. You can see what happens on the right-hand side when we have a leaky gut. We can have sinus problems, joint problems, fatigue from our adrenals not working. We can have IBS. So many people have IBS and they don't even know that if they could just take the right probiotic, they could have decrease in symptoms. Autoimmune processes like Hashimoto's and Graves', skin problems. You clear up the gut and it's amazing what your skin can look like. And then of course, our moodiness. If we can have a healthy gut, we might not be as moody, whether it's anxiety or depression or fatigue, as well as those who have ADHD and ADD, autism. We need to help the gut restore itself and its natural function. And so those two items make our probiotic stand alone, and you do not have to refrigerate it. That is so exciting that you do not have to refrigerate it, because it's really difficult to take your probiotics if you forget them in your pocket or in the refrigerator at home. So that's what makes ours stand in a class of its own. And then we have an Omega Plus product. It has Omega-3s and 7s. The buzzword is Omega-7s now. Go look it up. So many people know about Omega-3s and 6s. They've never heard of Omega-7s. And we need these 3s and 7s to really help our cardiovascular system, our brain function, our skin, our bones. The body needs to talk to itself. So we need Omegas to help that communication that happens with our cells, within our cells, and then to the cell next to it. And so our diets are high in in omega-6, and that's why we do not include omega-6 in there. We don't need to take more omega-6s. We need to balance out that ratio. So ours is a blend of omega-3 and 7, and we actually added vitamin D as well, because so many of us are vitamin D deficient. I live here in Arizona, and I tested my vitamin D just for grins and giggles, and I couldn't believe that I was vitamin D deficient. But I also use sunscreen, because I don't want skin cancer. So it's amazing, and we definitely need to increase our vitamin D to help our bone health and so much more. What's incredible about our product Omega Plus is that you can trace the bottle back to the boat where it was harvested. So there's no time for oxidation. So you don't have to put this Omega in the freezer and hope you don't burp up fish oil the rest of the day. You can actually take this during the day and not worry about it tasting horrible or burping up fish oil. So it's wonderful. And the person who invited you, ask them if you can taste it. If you can bite through that capsule, you'll be amazed that it doesn't taste horrible. So we are supporting brain, heart, and immune functions with our Omega Plus product. And so what we've done is taken these incredible protein pathways, activating pathways, and we've put them in specific products. True Science is for our skin. It's NRF2 activation. It's the only skincare product line that is patented to have NRF2 activation. And so it is for every skin type, whether you're trying to fight the wrinkles, fight the age spots, have better skin tone as well as texture. It's awesome. And we've actually used the cleanser in a shaving study, so it'll help decrease razor burn and a fancy word called folliculitis. Those are when you get those ingrown hairs. And it's a set of 4. So you get a cleanser, a perfecting lotion that looks like a toner, but it's actually, there's no alcohol, so no burning, an eye serum, and an anti-aging cream. So that is incredible. And then we have Axio, NRF2 activation for the brain. And it's more than just that. It is quercetin, DMAE, L-theanine, and activated B vitamins. They all cross the blood-brain barrier, and they help our mood, our clarity. It helps our energy in that realm. So I hate that term energy drink, but I like to call this brain food. But because our brain is happy, we actually have more energy there. On the right-hand side is a great example. You know, unfortunately our food and our children are not getting the adequate nutrition that they need. What if we can activate that NRF2 through Protandim and Axio, and they could sit down and do their homework? Look at his handwriting. Look at his ability to just get his homework done within 2 weeks, just not needing to be medicated, not even needing to go to the nurse to get their second dose of ADHD or ADD medication. It's a gift. What we're offering is a gift of helping the body function. I'll stop and say that we don't treat, cure, mitigate, or to promote diseases. What we're trying to do, treat diseases, we're trying to give the body its ability to function properly. We have incredible bodies, and what they want to do is function correctly. And so that's what we're doing. We're activating these processes that we have inside of ourselves. Axio is both decaf and regular. The regular has 100 milligrams of caffeine in it, and it's natural caffeine, so you don't get the jitters. It has L-theanine in there, so you're not getting the jitters with that L-theanine being in there as well. And then we love our four-legged friends, so Pet Tandem is NRF2 activation for them, and it has that same NRF2 activation with a few other things to help their joint support because they developed arthritis much faster than we as humans do. And so that research was actually done here in Arizona, double-blind placebo, and if you think about it, dogs don't know the same placebo effect as humans. So the fact that you could not tell the difference between the arthritic dogs, the sick dogs, and the healthy dogs by the end of 30 days and 60 days shows that this is an incredible product. They react much faster than we do. They can clean up faster because they age faster. So we have Pet Tandem for our four-legged friends. So with that, I am going to end with this slide because I love that Oregon State, what they're talking about with the NRF2 pathway. And this is what it says. When it finds a problem, NRF2 essentially goes back to the cellular nucleus, rings the alarm bell where it can turn on up to 200 genes that are responsible for cell repair, detoxification of carcinogens, protein and lipid metabolism, antioxidant protection, and other factors. In their report, the scientists called it a longevity assurance factor. And what's incredible is that NIA study now shows that we do prolong life. It does increase that longevity assurance factor. So it's wonderful that we're having multiple universities publish data that we can go back and refer to. And that's why I am a part of this company, because there is a medical breakthrough